as the e-filing has rolled out, there have been a lot of advancements and improvements on the system that some of us may not be fully aware of. And that is why we felt it was important to then have this webinar today, so that we can get first-hand information from our Honorable DR, Honorable Elizabeth Tanui, who is in charge of automation, who will tell us some of the advancements that have been made, some of the improvements, what are the things we need to look out for. And this is also an opportunity for us to be able to engage the DR on some of the challenges we may be facing. There may be one or two documents perhaps that you have discovered are missing from the portal, or some processes that you may not be aware of. So this is a chance for us to refresh how our interaction with the e-filing system, to be able to learn of the improvements that are ongoing, to be able to be up to date basically with the e-filing portal, because as we can see, it has really transformed our practice over the last 3 years. And for those who are newly admitted, this is a chance for you to learn how the e-filing system actually works. And so I don't want to take up more time, so that we may have more time to interact with the Honorable DR as well as members of the ICT department. And so I want to take this opportunity to welcome you all, wish you fruitful deliberations. Please feel free to ask your questions. If there's a particular process you don't understand, this is the time that Honorable Tanui will walk us through this. And I believe she'll even give us a demo of some of the improvements that have happened over the years. So welcome. And without much ado, I want to introduce Honorable Elizabeth Tanui, who is a DR at the High Court Commercial and Tax Division, as well as the DR in charge of automation. Karibuni, welcome, Your Honor.
Thank you so much, Chair, Madam Helen Namisi. Good afternoon, members of the bar, colleagues across. Good to see you, and thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. I am on call with Martin Jagongo, who together we will have this conversation with you. So I'm going to run the first segment of this particular conversation, where I will take you through basically what the e-filing system is all about. I am cognizant of the fact that there could be members who are on board, and I'm going to request us who are already veterans to be patient, even as we take through the newly admitted advocates who could have joined in, to just, be also appraised of what the e-filing system is all about and how to navigate through. But I'll also then be taking you through the veterans on the new features in the case tracking system. This new feature came up on 13th of February. I will tell you how that is going to be a game changer for all of us, both internally and externally. So that I will read out the memo that came out by the Chief Registrar of the Judiciary, the Acting Chief Registrar of the Judiciary, dated the 13th, which is basically new features in the case tracking system. So we will tell you what that is all about and how that is going to change your access to justice, basically. So allow me to just run through a few slides, and then thereafter I'm going to ask Martin to do a demonstration for us. But before Martin comes over, I will have taken you through the new features in the case tracking system. So as I said, basically, my presentation will be, addressing the basic features for the benefit of those who are coming in and who want to learn, and also just a refresher course for all of us. So let me run through these slides and see how this is going to be. Martin, can you please introduce yourself, even as I put my presentation on call? Martin is our Assistant Deputy Registrar, now with the Office of the Chief Registrar of the Judiciary. Martin, please.
Good afternoon, members, and thank you, Madam. Thank you, Chair. Madam has already introduced me, so I'm wishing all of us a fruitful engagement, and we will rely on your questions and answers just to know which areas you really want us to focus on. Thank you so much.
Martin, please confirm that you can see my screen.
Yes, I can.
Okay, Fine. All right. So let's start. I will go right into the anchorage of the ICT initiatives that we already have in the judiciary. I know most of the times we ask ourselves, are these new features, even these ICT initiatives that have been rolled out in the Commercial and Tax Division, across the judiciary, in the Supreme Court, and now even in the Cadiz Court, are they anchored by any law? I've had that question come, and it's always good to address ourselves to how are we running? What is the anchorage that is there currently? So we have 4 practice directions, which are key in terms of anchoring the procedures that we currently run. And the first one is the practice direction on electronic case management. This was gazetted way back on 24th of March 2020. March 2020 will always remain, ingrained in us, because that is the time that we were hit by the COVID-19 pandemic, 16th of March basically. But this particular practice direction thereafter came on 24th of March, and basically provides for the e-filing system and for the e-payments and all the features and the modules that are currently being run under the case management system. So this particular practice direction would be a good way to start, even to see how we are basically running through the provisions of the law. The other ones, which is number 2, 3, and 4, basically address court management. So these are basically, the practice directions which regulate the court proceedings in court, because we are saying, in as much as the e-filing is concerned, it is a registry system which basically manages the court files from initiation all the way to the time that we conclude a case. But there are now cases that are proceeding in court. How are they managed in court when you are running through the various ICT initiatives that have been rolled out? So the latest one, which addresses all the courts, basically from the ELRC, Environment and Land, down to the Cadiz Court, is the latest that was gazetted by the Chief Justice on 2nd of June 2023, and it's good for you as members of the bar to always, internalize and be apprised of the provisions of the law in this particular practice directions. So I'll now go through the provisions. Basically, as I said, they give directions on how the various modules of the case, the electronic case management system have been configured. This other one is on how to run, the various courts and how you should address yourself, how you should conduct yourself in court. This is the one for the Commercial and Tax Division, which is a special division having its own practice direction because of the nature of the cases that are in this particular division. And then this one, as I said, the practice direction for virtual courts that addresses all virtual courts, right from the Cadiz Court all the way to the other superior courts. There is this particular case law. There have been conversation around whether the proceedings, especially in the criminal justice system, are done virtually, are a true reflection of what a court should be, in terms of, is a court that is run virtually, especially when you're dealing with murder trials, the same court that would, does it have the same effect as the court that is run physically? So this particular case law is an interesting one. Why? Because it happened way before we even came to the virtual courts, before COVID. This was way back in 2011, when a question occurred as to whether the proceedings through the VC is video conferencing, amounted to, the proceedings and had the same weight as proceedings which would occur in a physical court. So Justice Ocheng relied in an Indian case, and it says, in what is arguably one of the leading judicial opinions in the Commonwealth on the use of video conferencing in giving and receiving evidence, the Supreme Court considered the case, that particular case, in which a witness who was willing to give evidence had stated that he was not ready to travel to India for that purpose. The High Court had ruled that it was mandatory for the witness to be in actual physical presence of the court building. Remember, this was way back, in 2011. The Supreme Court observed that in video conferencing, both advocates are in the presence of each other and that as long as the accused and or his lawyer was present when the evidence was recorded by video conferencing, that amounted to recording the evidence in the presence of the accused person, and such a procedure of taking evidence was in accordance with the law. So this particular case law for us is one which is key in terms of how do we anchor these particular ICT initiatives that we have. Rolled out in the law. And why is this? It is because we don't have an e-justice act yet, jurisdiction, where all these ICT, initiatives, which particularly are guiding us in terms of automating our procedures and processes as we know them, whether they should, all be under one act. So even as we have that conversation, as we start that conversation, which is going to take some time, we are saying we already have sufficient provisions of the law which enable us to run these particular ICT initiatives. So which are these particular ICT initiatives for us who are still new in this? We have the case tracking system. The case tracking system, popularly known as the CTS, is one which we use internally. Judges, judicial officers, and judicial staff use the case tracking system. It is an internal facing system. The e-filing system is your interface. So it is one system, just the way you open a window. So the window which is facing us internally, we call it the CTS. The window which faces you externally is the e-filing system, which you use to initiate documents, which you use to also check the progress of your cases and even to make payments and to do the various requests that you make. We are saying we run virtual courts, which basically run like, the virtual courts, virtual registries, where a link is sent out and you can appear before either the virtual court or the virtual registry, and you make your request and they are processed. The court recording and transcription system is the new kid on the block for us. I will be telling you more about the court recording and transcription system, which is one feature which is also going to be a game changer in the near future. I've talked about this. Let me run through the slides.
Your slides are not moving.
Oh, they're not moving.
Yeah, they're not scrolling down.
So I'm stuck.
Yeah, I don't know if it's only me who's seeing slide number 1.
Okay. Your Honor, you can use the presentation mode.
I'm actually on the presentation mode. So let me see.
With your permission, they could be enlarged a bit so that some of us see properly.
Are they moving now?
We can't even see them now.
Okay.
It was there before, but it's not there now.
Apologies for that. Let me try again. Martin, am I there?
Yes. You are at slide number 21. You can see.
Okay. Are they moving?
No. Maybe you can enable editing.
Then I'm stuck. Stop sharing. Martin, you have the same slide. If you can run it from your end. Apologies. It happens. Am I there?
I have shared from my end. I don't know. Confirm you can see the.
Okay.
We can view.
Okay.
So you can do slide presentations then?
Yeah. I'm at slide number 10.
Okay. All right. So let's go to the particular systems. Slide number 10. We can go to slide number 12. That is where I was. Thank you, Martin. So I was talking about these particular systems that have been deployed. We were already done with this. If we can go to slide number 12 and 13 and just run them. I'll be talking as you run through them. I was saying it's one system. So one system being that we have different interfaces. The interface that I have, that judges have, that judicial staff have is the case tracking system. The interface that you have is the e-filing system. Virtual courts, we are all making use of them. Virtual registries works the same way. A virtual court, you have a link. You appear before the registry. Some registries have permanent staff deployed to be the ones who are giving you dates. The court recording and transcription system, I said, is our new kid on the block. We have struggled with court recording and transcription system, which is the management of courts. Some courts have equipment in court, but we are now saying that we don't need all courts to have equipment. We have enabled courts to have, every judicial officer has a Teams account. And from that Teams account, we are encouraging judicial officers to record their sessions. We now have a national transcription center. The National Transcription Center is at the Foroda House. We have 27 members of staff that have been deployed to the National Transcription Center. What do they do at the National Transcription Center? So basically, we give them recordings of the various court sessions across the country, but it is yet to be used by all judicial officers. Once they get those particular recordings, we now have an infrastructure for them where we collapse the recording to text. So basically they have a system which collapses the recordings to text, and that text, if I show you, is more or less 80% accurate. So what these 27 members of staff do is to take the text which has been given to them in segments. For instance, if the text runs to 3 pages, we give them in segments, and they now listen in to the recordings and just do quality control. Quality control in terms of listen to the recording and proofread. So what they do is basically proofread through the recordings, the text that has been given through the recordings, and then you send it back to the deputy registrar or the head of station for purposes of certifying that these proceedings are a true reflection of what happened in court. So as I said, it is still a new feature. It is one which is yet to be used by judicial officers. You must be asking, why is it that, you know, you still have problems with the small claims court in terms of getting proceedings, and yet 99% of the work they do is virtually. So we should be, you know, using this particular facility, especially for the small claims and the Milimani Chief Magistrates Court, so that you get your proceedings in good time. In fact, by last week, they were saying they are done with all that they have and they are waiting for work from them. So it seems for us, it is a management issue in terms of getting recordings from the particular courts and giving that particular unit. It is now a national transcription unit for purposes of us getting the transcripts. So for you, what I will be asking is that when you make your requests, for instance, for proceedings, don't apply for handwritten proceedings. Just apply for transcripts. Once you use the word transcript, I think for us now, for even the court admin, of course, we are going to do a lot of stakeholder sensitization internally and inform the court administrators that you don't have to type the handwritten, because typing of the handwritten proceedings has taken a toll on us. One, we don't have enough secretaries, but we are saying we now have these particular units who are ready to listen in. And as I said, they are not even listening in and recording from zero. No, they are listening in just to do a quality control of the text that has already been collapsed for them. So as you make your request, please request for transcripts from the recordings that happened in court. And from there, we will be pushing from our side. And as you also push in terms of making your requests, we will ensure that we use the facilities that have already been given to us. But we are going to also run a stakeholder sensitization for the judicial officers so that the magistrates will know that when you are, proceeding in court, please record. Because when you don't record a session, then it will be very difficult for us to get the recordings and for us to give a transcript of that session. I'm sure some of you have requested for proceedings and you have been told that we do not have proceedings. Why? It's because there were no recordings done during the session. So the other ask that I'll also be asking you is that when you see that recordings are not being done, maybe you could just alert the judicial officer that, Your Honor, it seems that this session is not being recorded, because sometimes, all of us are new in this thing and we all just need to be reminded that this needs to be done, and it should be done as it ought to be done. The other thing about this particular system, we are coming up with policy and guidelines on how to use this system so that you get quality and accurate transcripts out of the recording. So that is coming out soon, and we'll also run a public participation with you in terms of should we, enrich those particular guidelines so that all of us are in the same page. So that is all about the court recording and transcription system. I will be happy to take your comments on it as we move on. Let's now just do the e-filing. Let's zero in on the e-filing system. As I have said, e-filing is basically the external interface, and the external interface is for you to initiate cases, is for you to file additional documents on existing cases, is for you to check the progress of your case, is for you to get notifications. And nowadays we are surprised, when you tell us that you did not get a notice of a particular matter, because when I update the system from my end and give it a date tomorrow, or I upload a document, it should give you a notification that an update has been done on your case, so that you get an SMS from us saying, this particular matter has a date on this particular date. So if you're not getting notifications, that is something that you need to raise also, so that we are able to assist each other and we are also be able to be on the same page together and to address that particular challenge from your end. The e-filing system, this for all of you who've gone through it, and if you remember, before March, when we used to do a lot of queuing and all that, it's been a game changer for all of us, and we appreciate how the e-filing system has enabled us save on time, save on costs, and just the efficiency and the effectiveness of it if we all use it as it's supposed to be used. It's been rolled out to all the court stations in 13 counties. The 13 counties are the ones that you can see on that particular screen. By 11th of March, we are rolling it out to the other 34 remaining counties. So we have 3 weeks within which to sensitize your colleagues across the country, right from North Rift down to Malindi, where this particular system is not working, because we are doing an avalanche of all counties on 11th of March should be live on the e-filing system. So that is a big ambitious program for us, but it is something that we have started. From tomorrow, we will have teams who are going down to these particular counties. We have divided the counties into about 15 regions, and where we want to sensitize your colleagues on the need to activate accounts, the need to request for mapping and linking of their existing cases to their accounts, so that by 11th of March, when the Chief Justice says she's live across the country and it's exclusive e-filing, they are not also caught up. So for you also, we are telling you that for the cases which you run outside these particular counties, by 11th of March, and we are saying even from tomorrow, please request that those cases which could be in Eldoret, that could be in Nakuru, that could be in Malindi, in Kilifi, which are not yet, mapped to your account, please ensure that you make requests for them to be mapped to your account, because we are going now countrywide. So that is it about the e-filing system and how it's integrated. You have seen the integration. This particular system, the case tracking system, is basically a registry system. So the way we all, flow to the registries, that is basically the engine of the judicial system, the registry. So the case tracking system is a reflection, is a mirror of the registry, where all of us plug in. So you plug in through the e-filing system, the ODPP plugs in through the Wadilifo system. So all of us plug into the case tracking system, and that is how the integration and the configuration has been done. What changes if you're new to the e-filing system? What basically changes is this 5. Filing is one of the things. You no longer have to come to the registry. You no longer have to send. And this will now happen on 11th of March in the other counties that are not on the e-filing system, where you have been sending your documents, your pleadings through email. Now you will not be able to send, because now you will sit from the comfort of your office and remotely, file your documents. Criminal cases across the country from 11th of March, we will be, they'll be initiated through the system also, and also assessment. I know when you have had to file, for instance, in Narok or Kajiado, you have to call somebody to tell them, I have sent my documents on email, please download, assess it for me, for then, send it back to me for purposes of payment. But from 11th of March, 3 weeks from now, you will be doing the assessment across the country by yourself. And then hard copy documents where you have to send to the registries. I know this is an issue where still we are asking you to bring documents, despite the fact that we are saying that documents have been electronically filed and therefore we have access to them. So there's a big debate internally about whether to print or not to print, and what does paperless really mean. So we have had that conversation. The journey that you have as advocates is the same journey that judicial officers have. Judges, magistrates, and cadis are learning the use of this system as you are also learning, so that it has become difficult for us to put a cut-off date on the issue of printing and for you to bring hard copies to the registries. So we are saying and encouraging each other and holding each other that as at now, let's move from more paper to less paper to one day be a paperless, institution. So we are saying for now, e-filing for judges and judicial officers who are unable to really, make use of the documents that are on the online system, because there are issues of infrastructure. For instance, when I am having this particular webinar, and if I'm running a court session and you have referred me to a particular document, it will mean that I will need to have another device for me to log into the system and confirm that what you're saying is true in terms of this is the particular document that you have filed. So some judges, some judicial officers are fast enough, because this particular system, I can be on the Teams platform at the same time log into the system and get to confirm what you're saying is true, that you have indeed filed that particular document and that you filed on such and such day. But there are also judges who are saying, I need another gadget, which will enable me now get to see the documents. So in as much as we are still trying to see how we can capacitate all of us to be at the same time, together at the same time, same script, same space, we will allow our journeys to reflect what we are able to do. So when you have a judge, a judicial officer who is asking you to please, especially for trial bundles, it's also easier for you as an advocate to go through a trial when you have a bundle, paginated and indexed. So we're saying let's not be discouraged that, you know, we have moved, but still the judicial officers are requesting us to give trial bundles. We are saying that this is a journey that we are taking together. But we are also saying that we need to reduce paper. We need to, today I have less paper on my desk than I had yesterday. So that now at one point in time, we will be saying that we are paperless. So I hope I've addressed that issue. I know it will come up on why the judicial officers still ask us to bring hard copies, but let's appreciate the journeys that all of us are making, even as we make use of these particular systems. And as the judiciary also empowers and capacitates magistrates and judges to have more devices in court, so that you have a device which is enabling you share documents, at the same time have a device that is enabling you listen and look and see the demeanor of the witnesses before you. There is the issue of the digitally date stamped documents. This is a feature which should be live soon. I know as much as we see on our end, and Martin will demonstrate, we see who has filed this particular document. There is a stamp that is done by the system. You are unable to see that stamp as we are talking now, an electronically stamp, which gives time and who has paid, and that time is hour, minute, second, so that now you are able to file documents that you can download and print from the system. That has not gone live yet. It is an issue that has taken some bit of time, but I can confirm that it has been configured, and once the approval has been given, you should be seeing that particular feature on your end. And then the rest are known to us. Court documents for us now, you know, we electronically prepare and digitally stamp them. That is how the applications under certificate of agencies have been handled. And I know that, you know, that has been a game changer for all of us. So Martin, we can go to the next slide. Let me now run through the rest because we want to do a practical. Notable features of the e-filing system. For us who are not even having an account yet, you can make use of the public information kiosk. Martin will run us through that. The public information kiosk gives you an access to all the cases that have been filed across the country, whether it's in Mandera, whether it's in Malindi, whether it's in Busia. You can have a limited access to those cases. What you might not see is that you might not see the documents that have been filed. Of course, we are also trying to be compliant as possible in terms of, in as much as we want to be transparent, we also want to have confidentiality for the parties. And this system has been configured to reflect our own laws. What does the law say in terms of access to our cases? Is that parties, and of course their lawyers, have access to the entire court file. But the rest of us have an access to who is it before, who are the parties in this case, but you might not see the documents for that particular case until and unless judgment has been given in that case, and 1 year down the line has passed. That is when we make it public for us. So these systems have been configured in such a way that they mirror the laws and the procedures that are currently in place, and we are not introducing anything that will be in conflict with the law. This particular one, searching for P&A matters, I would want Martin to take us through that, and validation of court documents and searching for a receipt without even having an account. So that if you do not have an account, all these particular features are for you to make use of. You have a receipt and you want to validate that receipt. We've had instances where receipts, even the ones in the system, have been forged. How do you ensure, how do you confirm that this particular receipt is indeed a receipt that has been generated through the system? We will see how that is done in a few minutes. So all this, I think these narratives are better done when we have the demo happening. We are saying that our systems are integrated, and as I've said, you know, my interface is the case tracking system. Your interface is the e-filing system. We have the JFMIS, which is basically the integrated case management. I mean, the financial system, where when you pay, it comes, from the e-filing system, to my interface. It picks that receipt, picks from KCB, and you're able to have a receipt in good time. This is, it's always good for you to know how the interface of a JO is like, a JO, a judge, a judicial officer, so that when you file an application under certificate of urgency, you must be asking, because sometimes we've had questions coming from advocates about, I have filed this application, have you taken it to the judge? So once applications have been filed, all of us internally, so long as you are given the rights to that particular court or that particular division, this is the interface that we see. So we see applications coming in. So at any one time, unless you do not pick the certificate of urgency, if you picked an application under certificate of urgency, we are able to see in real time. It even shows what time you filed and who has filed. So they run on our interface at any one time. And the number 133 reduces as we update the system. If, for instance, I deal with the first case, or a judge deals with the first case, and the system is updated with the directions that the judge has given, that number drops. It goes from 133 to 132. If another application is filed, of course, it goes up like that. So as a DR, wherever I am, I don't have to be in the registry. I don't even have to go to the registry myself to confirm how many applications under certificate of urgency have been filed today and who has it been allocated to. That I can deal with from wherever I am. That is why whenever even I'm not in the station and I get a call from any one of you, I can tell you, yes, your application has been filed. I can tell you who it is that has been, it has been given to this particular judge, because that interface is there for all of us to see. And how are applications under certificate of urgency allocated? So equally and equitably because the system has been configured to ensure that every judge gets an application equally. So the work that used to be done by the duty judge before, I got a question even last week about who is the judge on duty. So the work of the judge on duty has been taken over by this system, because the judge on duty would receive all applications under certificate of urgency and allocate them to different judges in terms of the workload and the docket of that particular judge. So this system was configured to take over, from judge, so that now it is random and it is automated. So the system reads, if, for instance, I have 7 judges in the commercial and tax division, and I have 5 applications under certificate of urgency, it will be to the presiding judge, then the second senior most judge, like that, all the way down. So we have, of course, ensured that we don't have instances of forum shopping, because you will not know who is the judge that had this matter just before. So that particular one has ensured that we are as transparent, and also the fact that there is no more forum shopping. You don't have to wait for a particular judge who was dealing with this matter, or who will deal with this matter, or who usually gives orders. This system now automatically allocates. But for cases which have been proceeding, and cases which, applications under certificate of urgency for cases which have been proceeding, the system reads and sees the history of that case and automatically allocates it to the judge who is currently dealing with the matter. I know there will be a question about the judges who have been transferred, or those who are sick, so or who are indisposed, or who, like for instance, today Justice Mabea is away. What happens to an application which has been filed and has been assigned before him? So that is when we now have rights as DRs and court administrators to reallocate that matter to another judge who will deal with it. But the system will have automatically allocated it to somebody. And for me, then now it will be go to the system. Yes, it has been allocated to judge so and so, but that particular judge is away, and therefore, reallocate it to this other particular judge. Subject to abuse, yes, but can we deal with it? Yes, if there's issues of abuse, if there are issues of system manipulation, This is a system which has logs. You can know at any one time who is it that, changed this particular allocation to a particular judge, what time was done, because all of us have accounts and you can see the footprints of that particular movement of that case from one GO to the other. So where are we in terms of deployment of the e-filing system? As I said, we are now in 13 counties. That particular slide is not coming up, Martin. Yeah, we are now in 13 counties. We started way back in 2018. If you remember, even before COVID, the Commercial and Tax Division was already running this system. It was the division where we conceptualized this system. We drew workflows. We mapped out who is the process owner, what happens when an advocate files, who pays and who picks which payment. So the process flows, the business, the owners of the particular processes were mapped out, and it took quite a time for us to do that. We were running a dry run with, I think, 10 firms at that particular time. But of course, COVID gave us the impetus to roll it out now to all courts within Nairobi, and we are across now other 13 counties. These other counties, the green ones, we are live. These other counties are the counties which, as I said, by 11th of March, we should be live on all these other counties. So you have a case in these counties, please do. Please do request for mapping so that by 11th of March, you are not, caught up in the crisis. We all remember and we all know what happens after the launch of the Chief Justice. The next day, when everybody, is requesting either for mapping, everybody is requesting for linking, something happens with, activation of accounts. So there's usually turbulence, the first 1 week after go live date, and it is expected because all of us are trying to get in. So it's the best time now to do what you're supposed to do so that you're not caught up by the turbulence. This, we will do it practically, Martin. So let me run through this procedure for filing a new case and all that. And let me now go to this internal memo. The internal memo, it's not in this slide, but there is a memo that came out on 13th of February. This is now very relevant to all of us who are both veterans and those ones who are coming into the system. There have been an issue with publishing of rulings and judgments, where rulings and judgments are given, read out by judicial officers, but you look for that ruling, you request for a copy of the ruling or judgment, and you don't get it in good time. It's been a pain point for all of you advocates, and we have ensured that now we deal with this matter through the system. How is it going to be dealt with? So if I have to deliver a ruling today, for instance, I had several rulings for delivery today, and my rulings, once delivered, have to be reflected on the e-filing system, because you see, I have a target to hit. At any one time, a judicial officer, even judges, you must have done a minimum of 20 or 10 rulings per month. So what happens is that sometimes we deliver rulings and judgments to ensure that we are up to that particular point, so that at the end of the day, I'm clocking 20 and 10. But you see, it could be that I have not finished writing that particular ruling or judgment, or I have written and I have not been able to deal with the typos and clean it up for purposes of ensuring that you have it in good time, or I have a summary of it. That has now brought a problem where you summarize your ruling and you read, but you don't have a ruling ready to be shared with the parties. So when you are requesting for copies of those rulings, it is a ruling which I'm not ready to share because I intend to write it in a way and in a manner which is shareable. So it takes sometimes a very long time, but yet I have already, updated in my system that I have done 20 judgments, I have done 20 rulings for purposes of ensuring that I am in good books. So to cap that, it has been said before you enter and before you update that you have delivered a judgment, a ruling, you must be able to upload that particular judgment and ruling. So the memo from the acting chief registrar of the judiciary with the instructions of the chief justice is that the case tracking system should be configured to ensure that you upload the judgment and the ruling before updating the respective outcomes. It means that if I don't have a judgment which I'm able to share with you, then I should not be able to read it. And if I read it, I will not be able to confirm to the Chief Justice or even to my supervisors, that is the presiding judges, that I have done this particular ruling, because I have not updated the system. And the update can only happen if I upload it. So that is going to really change for you, so that you don't have to look for rulings and judgments, because once it is updated, you will see the uploads and the uploads with the rulings and judgments. The other one is judgment on notice. Now the system has been configured to reject a judgment on notice. A ruling, a judgment has to have a date, and that date has to be within 60 days from the date that I concluded this particular matter. Why 60 days? Because the rule says so. So the system has been configured to only allow a date given within 60 days. And the system has also been configured to not allow a judgment to be delivered on notice. So those two, we hope, will change the dynamics. It is a new memo dated 13th of February. We are yet to see the impact, but it is good for you to know, so that now, once and rulings are delivered, you should be checking to see whether you're seeing a reflection of the same in the system. And if not, then you will be able to ask, how come that memo, and which the system has been configured to reflect, is not taking effect? So on that note, colleagues, allow me to now bring Martin on board to just do a small demo, and then thereafter we transit to a question and answer session. Martin?
Thank you so much, Madam. Now I am going to go straight away to start from the back end. I am just going to show us what does the registry see, and what does the judge see, and what does the deputy registrar see. And like Honorable Tanui had just said, there is this question about, you know, when counsel calls and says, I've just filed my matter, please have it placed before the judge. So that is what is being addressed by this. The registry will see this real time as the certificate of urgencies come in, and even requests for dates. They have what we call widgets. So generally, what we have on our end, which is the judiciary case tracking system, is like a digital registry, so that there's somebody who is seated somewhere in the registry and manning the registry using this interface and seeing each and every document that is coming in. So in this particular case, let me just show you that in the commercial and tax division a few minutes ago, or just today on 19th, you can see the date there is 19th. This certificate of urgency was filed, and you can confirm from the documents that are here that it was filed 2 days and 1 hour ago. I think this is the one for, let me see the latest one. Let me pick one that is very latest, so that you see as they come in, we are able to see them. So let's try this miscellaneous E293 of 2021. I don't know if you are able to see my screen.
We are able to.
Right, is it moving?
No.
All right, let me just stop sharing and then share again. All right, so this is where I am, and like I was saying, this widget here for certificates of urgencies will show you the certificates as they come in, so that there is no question that arises whether your matter has been placed before the judge or not. So let's pick this one, 293. It's stuck again. I'm monitoring on another gadget. Just excuse me, issues of technology. Yeah, so from here, you're able to confirm from this particular matter in the recent uploads that 5 hours, 31 minutes ago, there's a certificate that has been filed in this matter by the firm of Robson Harris. And the system picks it out. And what Madam was talking about, the documents that have been filed being stamped. Now what I want to show you, if you look at this document here, you'll realize that it has, you may not be able to see it well. Let me just try and expand. You'll realize that it has some red line, and this red line on the side indicates the date of filing, the time of filing by Robson Harris, and the reference number for the payment, and the amount that has been paid. It's all here. So this is the feature that Honorable Tanui has just indicated to us that will come to your side, because there are firms that still insist on bringing their documents to the registry for stamping. So this will actually solve it, and it will also help us with the issue of when the document was filed, because there are some documents that are time bound, and particularly when the court requires someone to have filed a document within a given time. So that is very important. So having taken us just briefly through the case tracking system, and I hope we understand from the presentation that Honorable Tanui has just made, we understand the differences between the case tracking system, which we have said is our internal system, and the e-filing system. So right now I am going into the e-filing system just to show you which is the system that you interact with daily, just so that you can also have a feel of what is it that can help you from your end. So I will share now the e-filing system. So I'm sure you're familiar with this interface. It's an interface that looks like this one, but instead of just jumping straight away, let me log out so that we start from here. So when you get here, you notice that there are features here that you can use. One of the features that we celebrate a lot about e-filing is the public information kiosk, which is generally just a self-help tool that we have put at the disposal of anyone who is interested in any information within court. So using the public information kiosk, you can access information from all courts countrywide. You can pick any court from Marsabit to Siaya law courts, and you can get the limited information that Honorable Tanui was talking about. So let's see what information is available to us. And you can see that under Marsabit law courts, we have all those courts. And let's for example pick the magistrates court and see what information is available to us. We can just try their criminal case number 1 of this year and see how this can help us. So from here you can already see that you can see the name of the accused. You can also see the tracking number, and this tracking number is important, especially when you want to use our *508 hash, which is a USSD code that you can also use to self-help to find information about a case, and it will give you that *508 hash will initially ask you for the tracking number, which is here, and then it will also give you information. If you're asking for dates, it will give you the last 3 activities. It will show you how to request for a date and many more other information. So it is also a self-help tool. These are some of the tools that can help you so that you don't have to, councils usually say you have to have a contact at the registry. You don't always have to have a contact at the registry for things like, you want to know the names of parties. In this case, you want to know the case activities. In this particular case, you can see it came up before Honorable Wekesa Mulongo on 17th of January, and this matter was closed. Okay, so you can see from here, if it had a future date, you would definitely see that it has a future date and it's coming up on this particular date. Apart from the case activities, we have the invoices also available to us. An invoice of 0 is usually raised for criminal cases, any criminal case that is filed. And also if there are any receipts, any fine receipts or receipts for cash bail, you would see them there. So that is the information that the public information kiosk gives us. And like I would want to stress that this information is available for you from any court station countrywide. The only limitation here is that you at least need to have a case number. You can't search using, you can see the fields that are provided here is for the case code, the case number, and the year. So you can't search using the name of someone or the name of an accused person. So it's important that you have that information. Also remember the *508 hash, which was initially meant to be toll-free, though I know right now it charges 10 shillings. With time, we hope that we are going to be able to host it for free. Having shown you the public information kiosk, let me also just show you these 3 features that are aligned together. The P&A matters filed. This feature is key when you want to know, when you have, for example, received instructions on or a succession case, and you want to know if probably another succession case is already existing concerning the estate of the same deceased person. So this is where you'll come to find out, and let's just see briefly a random name like Kamau and see how many Kamaus, though it's a common name. I know so many Kamaus will pop up, as you can see. And probably you want to confirm, you're suspecting that this particular Kamau probably is called John. Okay, you narrow down further, or you're looking for a Kamau, a case that probably may have been filed in Kiambu. Okay, so, and it gives you all Kiambu High Court cases here, and it goes all the way up to 35 pages. So this is also a tool that will help you in so many ways. Apart from that, you have seen the other two, which can also help us to either validate, you can validate a court order from that same space. We just want to try. Okay, so you can validate a court order from here. And if you have seen our electronic court orders that come out, they have a number down there, just at the bottom of the page, and it gives you a very long number, which is the identity of the document for purposes of our consumption. And then it has a tracking number. So that tracking number will, if you insert it here and you say get order, it is what will pop up here, and it will give you identical information that you have on the order, including the time that the order was published, by who, and you know, all the way up to the second. If with time, we have suggested this to our ICT people, and Yvonne is here, that if what pops up here, and with good reasons, advocates have also suggested that if what pops up here could also contain the content of the order, because sometimes people, unscrupulous people, can edit the content. You get the exact information concerning the order, but the content is different. So it's important that we also have the content of the order popping up. Apart from that, you can also validate your receipt. You can search a receipt. If you have received a receipt which you need to find out if it is authentic or it is fake, you search for it here, and this module gives you the option of searching using the payment reference number, which is what you usually use as the account number, or the tracking number. You can also use the M-Pesa transaction and just find out if a payment has been made, so that you move. So having said that, let me log in. Let me just log in, and so there is the process of filing a new case. If there will be any question on the process of filing a new case, I would be happy to take us through, but I believe this is a process that we are quite familiar with. If there will be need for demo, then I will do that. Let me go straight into requests for mapping. So there's a question on, there's a very frequently asked question on how do I come on to, to represent a party who is already represented by another party? Or rather, how do I replace another firm that is already on record for another party? Okay, so when, for example, you want to request for mapping to commercial number 1 of this year in Milimani, let's take commercial Milimani, commercial and tax. Take Milimani High Court and commercial and tax. And you want to come on record for someone in E001 of 2024, okay? And you get here and you realize that the person you want to come on record for is Dennis Ochieng, who is already represented by the firm of Dennis Onyango and Associates. So what you do at this level is you are going to use this button. Ordinarily, for a party that is not represented, if for example, you want to come on record for Blue Africa Limited, you will see this icon asking you, do you represent this party? But in this case, you don't have it because already Dennis Ochieng is represented by Dennis Onyango and Associates. So what you do is you will request for a party whom you represent to be added, okay? And that also means that the same Dennis Ochieng will have 2 entries. Once you click here, and you give us the details of Dennis Ochieng as an individual here, and you submit this, and we accept it, you will have 2 entries. One for Dennis Ochieng, who is a first defendant, same details all the way, but represented by Dennis Onyango. And then there is another Dennis Ochieng entry for Dennis Ochieng just below that will appear, that is also represented by now you, who is coming on record. So it's important for us to note that, because it is a question that keeps arising. The reason why I'm saying this is because the registry normally is wary of replacing the firm of Dennis Onyango, for example, and just plucking off Dennis Onyango and putting your firm, the person who is coming in, because now that draws the registry into in case an issue of representation or a dispute concerning representation arises in future, then the registry now is right in the middle of it. So it is a lesser evil to have 2 entries for Dennis Ochieng and represented by 2 firms, so that this is sorted out in court. So having done that, I will now therefore move to how do you then request for summons? It's also another issue that is nagging. If there is any area that you would still want me to demonstrate on, I will do a demo. But for now, I'm just relying on the frequently asked questions that we usually receive from our end at the registry. So how do you request for summons to enter appearance? This is a question that keeps coming. And the same module for requesting for summons to enter appearance is the same part where we request for acknowledgement notes. It is the same part from where you can also place a request for notices of taxation. So let's just see what we have here. So for example, you wanted to request for summons in Milimani. So that is where we start from. And I'm sure you are familiar with this first page and why the stations are arranged in that manner. Sometimes you may have been mapped in a particular case and you're looking for it under the wrong column. So it's important that you check all columns. Check under active, check under closed, check under archived, all those columns before you get back to court and probably complain that you're not seeing your matter. So let's see a particular case in Milimani. So you are mapped in this case. For you to have these cases here under your profile means that you have already either mapped or you are the one who filed them, who initiated them. So let's look at this first case and see. So here, when you get here, you have the case summary, which is almost similar to what we see from our end, and the case summary gives you the parties, gives you all those details. You have the parties here and their representation. You have the case activities. This is from where you know that your matter is going to be in the court list or not, or whether your activities have been updated. And also, it is also the same place that you get to know when your matter has been acted on under certificate of urgency. And this is also an important question for me to address. How do you know that your matter has been acted on if you filed an application under certificate of urgency? So apart from checking the case activities, also just to be sure to confirm from the documents from court and confirm that orders have been uploaded here. So what happens is usually when you file your documents and they appear here in the documents, the judge or the magistrate will come straight and read your document, which you have filed, which is right here, and then consider it, and then they will publish their judgment. Once that judgment is published, or, I mean their directions, once the directions have been published or the orders have been given, they usually come to your account under this tab, documents from court. So this is where you keep checking. This is where you come to know if your certificate of urgency has been dealt with or not. It is also important to keep checking under activities, but activities usually are updated. The registry, I mean the court assistant will update the activities depending on what has been published here. So don't just check this and leave this out, okay? So let's move to lodging requests. So you have filed your plaint. Immediately you're done filing your plaint and your accompanying documents, you will see that the system will prompt you to submit lodging request, okay? So this prompt, this is the place from where you will now submit your request for summons to enter appearance. When you click that, initially we had intended this system to be an e-service system, so that service is also effected by way of system. So if you give us the correct document, I mean the correct email address and phone number for the defendant, immediately we approve this from the registry. These documents are going to be delivered to those contacts that you have provided here. So, but in case you don't have them, no problem. I know this question also comes up a lot, whether must I have the email addresses and the phone numbers for the defendant for me to proceed? If you don't have them, at least don't leave this place blank, okay? Then move to the next one. You can see it's not moving until we put something, okay? So, and then move to next. So when you get to next, step 2, it shows you the documents that it is just about to serve, okay? And it will show you here, if we had captured the document correctly, it will give you the name of the document here that is just about to be served. So there's no action at step 2. You move to step 3. Here is where now the action is. And the action in this step 3 is that you will pick what manner of assistance you want the court to give you, okay? And we are saying at this level that we want the court to issue, the registry to issue someone to enter appearance. That is what we pick. And we just give a brief explanation. We may say, please issue, summons to enter appearance, okay? And then we submit. I'm not going to submit this because I'm using the live system, but immediately you submit this. What happens is that it will appear in the dashboard of the registry under their e-service widget, and it will bring to their attention that they need to check, one, that you have paid the correct fee, because it's going to display the payment that you have made, and it's going to display the documents that you have filed. Okay, so it's the registry is going to check that you have paid the correct fee. If in any case you have not paid the correct fee, you will receive a communication back together with an invoice of how much you should pay, so that you are able to again make that request for summons to be issued. If it is okay, it will be approved. And once it is approved, let me just show you where you find it, because this is also another issue. Once it is approved, we are just going back to that same case. I hope I'm not losing you. We go back to the same case. Once it is approved, you will see something that looks like this. I don't know if you are able to see request approved here in green. Okay, you will see that request approved. And if you click on that sign, you will see the downloadable summonses to enter appearance from here. So you download your summons to enter appearance. Okay. You download your summons to enter appearance. It has downloaded off the screen. Then you proceed to serve accordingly. Okay. So that is it about request for summons to enter appearance. It is the same prompt that also allows you, and it's important that I demonstrate this. It also allows you to place a request for either notices of taxation. Okay. Let's move all the way to let's give it time to load before I move to the other area. So at step 3, where I said all the action is, you see this drop down here gives you options. You can either request for summons to enter appearance, notices of taxation, or you just want your documents to be acknowledged, which is an acknowledgement note, or you want notice to show cause. I know notice to show cause, warrants of arrest, warrants of attachment and sale, warrants of sale in execution of a decree, and someone says to witnesses, prohibitory notes, notice to show cause under Order 17, all those other templates that are available there are still under development. And I want us to get this clearly, because we are in the process of having those templates developed and uploaded in the system, so that when you make your request from the other end, the system will automatically generate them. I know they're already in use at the Small Claims Court, and the model that Small Claims Court have used, which has been of a lot of success, is what we are going to replicate throughout the other courts. Once we are able to. The only difference that we have between small claims and the other courts is that you can see that their decree comes out with a certificate of costs at the bottom of it. So as ours has to be, computed differently, and even the computation of the amount that should be in the decree is part of the whole idea of developing the system, which is still pending. So it is an area that we will request for your patience, and we are hoping that we are going to hack it with time, so that our decrees can be automatically generated. So let me then go to cause lists. Okay, if you have seen this feature here, I am sure you have seen the calendar, which can help you to, just know which of your matters are in which court on which particular date. You can see this dummy farm of Chelule Maina and Co. has a matter in Maralal on February 8th, and one in Thika on that particular Thika ELC on 19th. Okay, so it is important for you to always check this. This is going to help you. And another one in Diwa on 5th of March, and another one on 7th of March in Maralal Magistrates Court. So it is a tool that you can use to just manage your farm if you are comfortable with it. I know most of us prefer the hard copy diary, but this is easy, I can assure you, for you to use. So let me skip invoices, case search, and go straight away to the cause list. So in case you're looking for a cause list for Milimani High Court, commercial and tax, and it's a cause list for today. Okay, you want to view it. You have it here. You have the cause list here. And the beauty about this is that it usually comes out with a link. I don't know why this one did not come out with the link. It should come out with the link of the judge. I will consult with Yvonne after this. So this should show us what we have, though not in this particular order, because you realize in the commercial and tax division, the judges prefer to start with the judgments, rulings, then hearings in that particular order. But you will know that your matter, this will help you to know that your matter is actually listed or it is not listed. Nowadays, we don't receive those calls of my matter is not listed in the morning of the cause list, but this can also help you to, to check on such areas. You can also download the cause list here. What Madam did not tell you is that, and I'm sure she's going to add on this when she'll be closing, is that we are also going to have a portal. We have been relying on Kenya law, but we are also going to have a portal for cause list, which is going to be launched from 11th of March. And I think Madam will give us more clarification on that. So I've talked about mapping, I've talked about the cause list, I've talked about the documents from court, which is key. And lastly, let me talk about how do you manage your accounts? The question comes, can one law firm have more than one account? And the answer is no. One law firm, it is ideal that one law firm has just one account, okay? So that if you have a law firm with branches in Nairobi and Mombasa, for example, you will be able to manage those accounts from here. If you're able to see, just after the law firm's name, there is manage users. And there's a reason why manage users is there. So this is how you use it. If you have associates or someone managing your firm elsewhere, have them create an individual account, okay? So once they create that individual account, you will be able to search for that account here using the email address that they use to create that account. Once you search and find that account here, like, for example, this one, Christine Kamami Mishira, then you add, okay, you add that account to this particular account, the main law firm account, so that you manage those accounts using the super account, which is the law firm account, and anything that is filed from Christine's account will be appearing to the judiciary as if filed from the firm of Chelule and Co. Okay, and I hope that is clear. So that is a feature that can also help you just to, to manage your branches, so that you may also choose to give out your credentials according to maybe how you prefer. You may choose to give your credentials out, the same account, give your credentials out to the other firms, or retain your credentials at the headquarters and have them open other accounts which can be added to this main account. Otherwise, I wasn't able to read some of the posts that you are making. I've seen some requests of areas that you would really want us to demonstrate on. I don't know if someone was taking note of those areas that were posted in the chat so that we can just go through
Martin,
them.
just right where you are on the cause list,
yes.
there is an issue about, this is a question or a comment from Hisham. Good afternoon, thank you for the informative presentation. Could we have the cause list and any court notice for the specific court also provided in the case listed the day under the calendar option? See the way we run sometimes notices.
Yes,
this
yes,
particular
yes,
judge
yes.
is not sitting.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that is a question. Maybe comment on it now that you are on that particular interface, your course list.
Well, thank you, madam. And thank you for your question. This particular area is meant to just to help us know if our matter is actually going to come up on that particular day. And initially, usually it has the links also. You can get the link and you can also know that your matter is coming up. It will not give you specifically the order that your matter will be called, but we are going to improve this. And this is a question. It's also a conversation that we are having internally, because the portal that I'm talking about is going to be pulling cause lists from our system. And usually when we have pulled our cause list from our system manually, we add the notices. So there's that conversation between now and 11th, whether there will be a way that we can put the notices so that the notice, the cause list comes out as a complete document, even in that portal and on e-filing end. And I believe that we are going to find a way to find a solution.
Martin, we could also hear from Yvonne. Our council, we also have Yvonne. Yvonne is one of our ICT officers, a technical person. The beauty about our system is that it's a system which has been built internally by our own. We haven't bought this system from anywhere. We have built the foundation of it brick by brick up to where it is. So we know where, we still have to improve on. But let's hear Yvonne on that particular issue. Yvonne?
Yes, I hope I'm audible.
Yes, you are.
Yes, you are.
Okay, thank you so much, Your Honor, on that. Yes, we've had instances where people are requesting to have their cost list at the click of a button. Previously, people had to navigate all the way to the Kenya Law Reports website, but on 11th, when we'll be rolling out, CJ will be launching e-filing to the other 34 counties. We've come up with a web web access to the cost list from any particular place. What Jagongo has shown us is still a replica of what we'll be showing you on that web portal, which we intend also to be appended to the website. Maybe if I can show you the URL to that particular cost list, this is how it will be like. So once you log in, I hope I can be able to share my screen.
We can unshare. Martin, you can unshare yours. Now share yours.
Okay, just a few minutes. Are we able to see my screen?
Yes.
You can see my screen, huh? So on our judiciary website, we intend to put this URL so that we can be able to fetch in all the cost list from the different court stations. We've realized the court list that is normally shared on the system has some amendments. So from time to time, this one will be an online system where if any amendments are done even before or some minutes to the court session, you can easily access that particular cost list. I'll take an example of what Jagongo showed us. So you just come here and pick that court station, that is the High Court. I'll just pick the one for commercial and scroll down to Milimani. Milimani has several divisions, so I'm going to pick the commercial and tax. And of course, the cost list is for that day. So here you'll be able to particularly view, and then you can always download that cost list. The beauty of it, this cost list also has the court link that was missing in the other one. So this one will pull the way the normal cost list is normally is. So like today, you can see this one is a cost list for that day because that was arranged. You can easily tell from that particular judicial officer or judge how many matters are they are hearing, and if at all there are any changes, you can always see. So from this, you can always tell even the certificate of agencies that are coming in. You can easily see those certificate of agencies at a mouse click. So since it's still work in progress, so you are not able to see much. So that was just a sample, but that is how that specific output will be like. So I think, Your Honor, you've been able to see that. So over to you.
Thank you so much, Yvonne. I think we can't wait for 11th of March to see how that will change how we view our course list. Even if you can take over the first question by Masharia, I know
Yes.
you have tried to answer. Can you
Yes.
please clarify your written answer? If you check Milimani High Court P&A 218 of 2006, there are case activities appearing in the public information kiosk,
Yes.
but missing in the case activities on the dashboard. Not
So,
sure what is the case. Please proceed.
Okay. Thank you. I've been able to get hold of that particular case file, both from the CTS side and also from the public information kiosk, and I can tell that the matters are updated, and I don't know if by any chance he was not able to go in court by way that the matter was not listed or not, or what. But from my own assessments, I can tell that the officers at the registry were able to update, and it's the same details that were there. So this is the matter. It was before that particular judicial officer. You can see that matter was listed and as a next activity of 24th of June. So that is when it's coming back. And of course, that matter was in court last about 2 weeks ago on 5th. The same matter is here. It was actually updated from our side. So it is what is it's mirroring what is happening on CTS. That is from the internal staff that are updating is what is mirrored on the other side. Unless there were any other questions that
If I can have Mr. Masharia, just now that you have that particular case there, I don't know whether that answers S. Masharia. If you is that a good answer to this first question? Has it been answered, and has it been demonstrated, or is it that we missed what you're asking? Also, Mr. Masharia suggests, and this is a good suggestion, that documents on the dashboard, it doesn't show which document it is at a glance unless you open each document. I agree. Just show a list of forms with no particular order. Can the system be configured to show type of document and date filed? For example, it will show it's a replying affidavit filed on this particular day by that particular firm. This is a good suggestion. I think on 4th of March, when we are having the ICMS, which is the committee that oversights these particular developments, we will bring that to the attention of the committee because they will be making various policy directions. I think this is a very good suggestion. Yvonne, do you agree?
Yes. Yes, that is actually what we had always envisioned, and even the way the documents are filed. For instance, if it's a certificate of agency, the way the filing is done, which is the first document to be filed and the subsequent documentation. So I believe this is one thing that we need to pick and maybe implement in the next rollout.
Thank you. That's a very good suggestion. We're going to number 3. I know there is a hand raised by Robert Onyango. I'll give you an opportunity to voice your concern. But number 3, the system still forces, and I want Martin to speak to this, still forces us to key in the ID, telephone, and email address for all the parties, some of whom you do not have the details. You may not have the details. So it means, Martin, you have already demonstrated, and we have seen you, input fictitious figures and characters. So why can't the system be changed to not make it a mandatory field? Either of you, maybe Martin or Yvonne, can speak to it.
Maybe Yvonne can help me with that.
Yeah. Yvonne, can you check up this? This is a system configuration. Yes.
Yes, Your Honor.
Number 3.
On the issue of using ID, telephone numbers, and emails,
and it is a mandatory field. So what happens is that lawyers and any other person using the system, because it's mandatory, and then you are forced to put in fictitious numbers. Sometimes it is actually somebody's number you've keyed in, and those people start receiving messages, and they are not parties to that particular case. So why can't we make it a non-mandatory field?
So we've always had that conversation running out all the time. But on the issue, even if we, on the issue of ID, that is a mandatory field because we need to know. In fact, Kenya Bureau of Statistics normally requests to know the number of cases. And at times we also would want also, we mirror it to the e-citizen. So at times e-citizen, what the system at times ask, especially for P&A when you're gazetting, it will request for those particular information, and especially on the ID and the phone number, for one, contacting those people. But that is also something else that we've found out, especially when we are training the prisons. We've realized even them, even if we're asking them for those three specific details, they do not have. So they are forced to even put their next of kin details, who at times are not parties to those particular cases. But that is something else we also need to push also in the ICMS, Honorable Tanui, for discussion. Who are to be exempted, and why do we really need those specifics?
Okay. So this is a conversation. It's been an issue ever since we rolled out e-filing on the issue of the mandatory fields, and you might not be having the information to update those fields. I'm sure we'll come up with a policy and direction on 4th of March, just before the 11th of March. So that is one of the issues that we have picked up, and we will discuss it. Thank you so much for raising it. On the issue of, could we kindly input a means of tracking a matter and the court where it was filed through the e-filing portal, or the messages dispatched by the e-filing system indicate the court. In fact, this is one of the new features that will be updated soon, where when you get the message, instead of that message just showing you the court number, the case number, it actually tells you that this particular case is in this particular station. I know how unhelpful that is. What is currently obtaining, where you get a message, you don't know, is this a matter in Milimani? Is it a matter in Eldoret? So that particular update will come up soon. Thank you for also bringing it up. We will pick it up and ensure that in the new update, it has been actualized. So we've dealt with the other one by Mr. Hisha. Perhaps we can be informed as to how long it takes for the portal to be updated after a court session. So this is a capacity issue. It is supposed to be updated almost immediately, so that once I am dealt with my court session, my court assistant should sit and update the case tracking system to indicate when is the next activity. But sometimes an issue of, I will still update. We all know, human nature, procrastination. Sometimes there is an excuse of, I don't have a device for updating. And we have enabled and ensured that all our court assistants have either desktops or laptops for use. Sometimes they don't have the laptops in court, so they have to wait until the court rises, then they come to the registry where they will get access to desktops, and sometimes that desktop is being used. So as I said, it is an issue of capacity sometimes in terms of the infrastructure that we have. But the answer to that question should be, it should be immediate, and we are trying to ensure that that happens. How do law firms delink their firms from a particular case? This is from Mercy Karithi. In the same manner, we need mapping to be linked to cases. There is a need for delinking so that advocates don't carry on the burden even after coming off the record. Martin, please.
Thank you, Mercy. And just to clarify that for linking, you can request from your end. For delinking, still, we have to do it from the registry. And this is also an area that we are considering, together with the linking of individuals and organizations, which still has to happen from the registry. So I think, Honorable Tanui, this is also another area that we should take up. I know it's been long overdue, especially where we require our our self-representing litigants to come to the registry to have themselves link or to call, so that we also enable them to be able to link. Same thing about delinking, so that someone is able to delink from their own account and it is something that can be tracked. Though I know there are issues that where people are saying, you know, I was delinked wrongly. And I think if we enable advocates to delink themselves, it will sort out some of those questions, so that it's something that can be tracked. There's a footprint of who delinked who. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Martin, and thank you, Mercy. This is the third suggestion that we will subject to the discussion by the ICMS committee on 4th of March, when we expect that there will be various pronouncements on policy directions going forward. The next one, Martin, Yvonne, if you can take up this question by Valerie Odera. Thank you for the presentation. Is the search for the deceased already live for P&A matters under the public kiosk, or is it among the features to be introduced?
On the issue of the deceased, you can be able to search under the validate. Jagongo, did you show them that? How to validate on the public information kiosk under the validate?
Yes, I did. You
Yes.
can search with the name of the deceased.
Yes, and then you narrow it down to the station.
The station, yes.
Yes. So I think that is what Valerie is implying. Your Honor?
So the answer is yes.
Yes.
Okay, fine. For the rest of the questions on the SMS issue, we have addressed that. Let's follow it up. There is the issue of on the SMS prompt, at times 3 or 4 messages pop up on the client's phone as an update. Some clients are old and panic, perhaps configuration to have only one alert sent out. This has been an issue. Yvonne, if you can tell us how it's been addressed, where you get, you know, more than 5 SMSs on one case. Why does that happen? And now that we have raised that issue as users, has it been addressed? Yvonne, are you there?
Sorry, Your Honor, I'm serving 2 masters.
I'm talking about the SMS prompts. And
Yes.
we partner with the technical team. You represent the technical team where users get 3 or 4 messages on the same issue. Why does it happen? Has it been addressed? Because we have raised it up as users.
So at times what happens is that every time the updating of the CTS on the activity happens, a text is sent, is prompted to the attached phone number of that particular party. So in the event there's a change, you'll find that change could be one, either the judicial officer has been changed, the courtroom has changed, or even the activity has changed to another date, or even given to another judicial officer. So you'll find those prompts happening. So that one is already something that we've always noted. Why can't the system send all at once, or even a day or 2 before the cause comes up for hearing?
Okay, so that issue is an issue which we will keep raising until it has been addressed. Thank you so much, Mr. Hisham. And the last one on this particular interface, Mr. Twitter asked, my complaint is on the Court of Appeal. We get locked out of the e-filing of the Court of Appeal as a law firm over all matters in the Court of Appeal because of unpaid further court fees. Why not just lock us for that specific matter? So this issue and this particular concern has been raised, and it's actually a subject of a court case now. There is a matter that has been filed against the Registrar Court of Appeal, represented by the CRJ, on the issue of access to justice. I agree with you that it could have been maybe a good idea to just lock out parties on the matter that they haven't paid court fees. So you are frozen or that matter is frozen in respect to your account until you pay the particular court fees and not have you locked out for all the court cases. But because this is a live matter in court already, as I said, there is a suit that has been filed. Let's wait until the court pronounces itself on the issue of access to justice arising out of the policy direction given by the registrar of the Court of Appeal. The last one, hi, the timestamp of the documents filed on e-filing seems to be tagged to the how long ago the document was filed, as opposed to which date the document. Can we have both the exact, or it means the timestamp is not chronological? This one we have addressed, Mr. Kamala. We say the feature that we have on our end, you don't have. We have a feature which Martin demonstrated, which is actually a stamp showing when a particular document was filed, by who, what hour, what minute, and what second. This particular strip, which is already reflecting on our interface, should also be available to you. So in the next system update, you will have that particular stamp reflect on your end so that you don't have to, keep questioning when was this document filed. So immediately payment is made for a particular document, it will pick up when was it paid, what time, and by who. And you will be seeing that particular strip on your end. So let me now bring in Robert. Robert, your hand has been raised for quite a while.
Yes,
Please.
thank you, Your Honor. On my part, two things. One is to thank the Judiciary for the good work that you're doing on the e-filing system. It's really assisting us. The only issue I have is on the court filing portal, when you find that you must file all documents through that portal. Then at times you find you have a very voluminous document, maybe running up to around 500 pages or thereabouts. The system says maybe you pay only 75 or 100 for it. When you get to court for hearing, maybe your matter cannot proceed for the reason that the court was unable to print the voluminous document that someone uploaded on the system. Is there a way maybe we can be notified through the system, the way they notify us when there's outstanding court fees? Is there a way that we can be notified that maybe bring hard copies to the registry so that we can mitigate on this issue?
Thank you so much, Mr. Onyango. Martin, if you can pick up that.
Thank you, Robert. Like Honorable Tanui mentioned during her presentation, that to print or not to print is a huge dilemma for us in the judiciary, and especially because we are trying to move from a tradition where the courts have to look at the documents physically as they proceed. So sometimes you get to court and you're told to avail documents, but this is on a it's on a case by case basis, which I can say that some other judges will usually give you time maybe to supply. Some others will just see what is in the like in the commercial and tax division. I know Honorable Justice Mabea, and initially when Justice Majanja was in our division, he would just rely on what you have in the system. So I think it's also an area that once we have clear policy directions coming from the committee to from the Chief Justice to the judicial officers, we will be able to enforce it in a more clear way. Right now, we may just have to contend with the idea that if you have filed a document which you feel is bulky, we would advise that you avail it, you supply it to court so that you're not prejudiced on the day of the hearing or mention. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Martin, for answering that question from Robert. I'm seeing NNM advocates. Their hands raised.
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. Allow me to ask this question blindly because I am not so sure whether it's there now. The last time I checked, there was no provision for filing audio recordings and videos. I don't know whether that has been provided now.
So thank you for that question. It is a feature which I'm also looking forward to. When I started the presentation, I said the court recording and transcription system is one of the systems that we have really struggled to ensure that it works for us for management of the court process itself. The e-filing, we are almost having a breakthrough because it's basically a registry system. The court recording and transcription system is now the court management system. So right now we are having court recordings done in two ways. One is for the courts which have the equipment in court, they are recording and we are having transcripts generated from that particular system. But we also have many courts who are running virtual courts. So we are creating awareness and ensuring that virtual courts are recorded. And after recording, we are moving towards having all recordings at the end of the day put together and collapsed into a text. This text, which is in respect to every case, is then taken to the National Transcription Center, which we have now established, and we have deployed almost 30 members of staff. Right now, there are 27, and they are just doing quality control in terms of listening in and then just ensuring that it is a true reflection of what happened in court. So we will move towards having that transcript uploaded on the case tracking system and also have the audio uploaded on the case tracking system so that we now give you a chance to, from your end, please verify that this particular transcript is a true reflection of what happened in court, and you can do the verification by listening in the audio that has also been uploaded on the CTS. And then we give you maybe 3 days, for you to verify by and ensure that even the other side, are aware that you are doing that, so that if within 3 days you have not verified, then we take it that the transcript is a true reflection of what happened in court, and thereafter we can now move it to another interface where we are saying this has been confirmed, and you can now have it as a true a transcript for the court. That is work in progress. We have done so much. We hope that by the end of this month, by 11th of March, when the Chief Justice is making pronouncements on various ICT activities, this would be one of them. I don't know whether that answers that question. So you'll have one the transcript and two the audio.
Thank you for that. I didn't mean the court proceedings. I meant
Yes.
I want to rely on some audio evidence or video evidence.
I see.
Then I want to file it first. Is there a provision for filing that?
For now, we haven't done that, but it is one of the issues that have been raised for a long time, because if you have video evidence, you have large recordings that you want to file because they are, for instance, annexed charge, or you want to use them for purposes of trial, you are unable to file on the case tracking system. So not yet, but Yvonne is here. Yvonne is a representative of the technical team. They have been dealing with other issues. That one is one of the matters that have been queued, but I can tell you for sure that it is not been prioritized yet, but we'll keep pushing for it. So let's keep it on tabs, and let's not forget that that is something that is yet to be done in the system. But as I say, this is a system which is being, built every day. That is one of the things that we need to do. Thank you for bringing it up.
Madam, maybe let me react to what Matthew is asking about data protection. We are alive to the need to protect data, which is actually a legal requirement, and also to balance it with the right to information under Article 35. And so if you check, like you're suggesting for children matters, divorce, I was just going through our public information kiosk, and if you look at the screen that I've just shared, I hope you can see. From there, you can see that, well, let me share again. You can see that it's initialized. The parties are initialized so that there is protection. If you can now see, yeah, there it is. You can see the parties there. The citation is ELI versus B&M. So this is there already. And I don't know if you come across any that is not initialized, then you can bring it to our attention. But we have done this. Thanks.
And also on this particular one, you will see that you will not see the documents. You will not even see the documents from court. You can see that the tabs there just shows you the limited information that you can just see the parties, and the parties have been initialized, as Martin has said, the case activities, who it is before, which court it has come in, the invoice, and the receipts only. You will not see court documents, and you will not see the pleadings by either of the parties. So that is how we've also tried to ensure that we are protective as much as possible. Wakobi Madenge, your opportunity now.
Thank you, Anna. I've always been asking this question: is it possible, because some of the payments we make on e-filing, can you get like a statement, a monthly statement that you can generate, know how much you've paid as court filing fees for accountability? And secondly, is it possible, because some of these matters that are flagged that you have not paid, you get a schedule of unpaid invoices or a list of what has not been paid? Then my third question is that in an instance you undertake filing and you have made a wrong selection and you have already been invoiced for the wrong selection, well, how are you supposed to address that? Maybe you are supposed to have inputted a memorandum of appearance, but unfortunately you've selected a different document that has a different payment and that you are required to pay. How would a user like us now as advocates be able to address those concerns? Thank you, Your Honor.
Very, very good question there. A new one, a statement at the end of the month, list of invoices to be paid, if not paid, address issue of wrongly paid documents. Yvonne, I think this is your question.
Maybe I can jump in as we wait for Yvonne to come in.
Please.
On the wrongly invoiced document. So if you do a wrong selection and just before you pay, the registry has a right to delete. So you can talk, I mean, you can contact the registry or the court admin and have that invoice deleted. The only problem we have is where you have already paid for it. When you have paid, if you notice before paying, please reach out. If you have paid for it, then even if it's a new case, then our hands are usually tied. If the document is filed, and you know, if you remove it from record in any other way that is not judicial, then it may raise other issues. Yeah. Then on fees that are not paid, I'm not sure. I was trying to see if you can download. If you're able to download from the amount that is the balance that is payable, if it is hyperactive, but I have found it's not hyperactive. So maybe we can make it, you see where the system tells you payable and then paid and then the balance. If we can make that just hyperactive so that you can click on it and see you have balances in which particular cases. So I have taken note of that also. Thank you.
Thank you, Martin. Yvonne, the question was, can advocates, parties, get statements of what they have, the payments that they've been making at the end of the month?
Okay, Your Honor, on the issue of statements at the end of the month, that is not possible, of course. That will be a lot of data mining, but the reason why on e-filing we did put the amount paid, when you open your e-filing, that is for the law firms that are here, you're able to see how much you've paid and how much balance is it. So that is how we were able to at least make sure that these particular law firms are able to see how much fees they have been able to pay and how much they've been able to deposit. So for that, I think that is a development issue, because that will involve even us pulling some data from the banks to the respective law firms. So I can't really say that it's something that we can implement. That is at all order, because that will involve also getting a lot of resources from the bank to get those filtered payment for the respective advocates and law firms. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. For Mr. Madenge, is that a good answer? I know it's a negative, but maybe it's an explanation. But also something that we can look forward to in the future. Okay, there is a legal department, hand raised, just legal department. As they come on board, Yvonne, can you address this issue of prompts to advocates' email addresses also? This is from Lucy. Is it possible for advocates to get alert prompts via their email addresses other than, of course, the SMSs? The legal department, I'm just saying legal department, if you can voice your concern.
Good afternoon, Joanna.
Good afternoon.
Yes, this is Otieno Justice Advocate. I just wanted to say something on the previous question on the how we can know that how much we paid, and yes, just on that, I just wanted to say that perhaps council can download and print the receipt that is generated on the portal, so that with that, using using the firm's mechanisms, they are able to factor in and know this month how much have we spent on legal fees. And on the issue, perhaps on there is also a very serious issue that council raised on like when I look at my portal here, I realize that there are pending fees that I am needed to pay. But again, they are really not pending fees. They are just that I clicked on a wrong button, perhaps, and then a fee was generated, which I do not intend to pay. So perhaps that one is what you should address. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Justice, for one, assisting in answering our concerns, and two, on the cleanup of the system. I think we both need to clean up this particular system because, as you said, there are invoices which could have been raised, which are not invoices per se, but because of one or two steps that you took. So there should be a cleanup drive from your end and our end also, and I think that needs to be done. There is MM saying there is a solution to pending and paid invoices. Just click on invoices above. The list pops up. So that is one of the solutions that has been given by us who have used this particular system. But as I said, before you are caught up, you know, the way most of us have been caught up in the Court of Appeal with those particular invoices, which are not really pending and paid invoices. Let's do a bit of cleanup. Sometimes just let the registry, you know, help you do that. So let's be proactive and deal with the cleanups by all of us. The other one is via email addresses. This one, I think I'd ask Yvonne to address it. But right now, we are not making prompts using the email addresses, but I don't see why it shouldn't. If we are giving you prompts via SMS, I'm sure even by use of email addresses, we can do that. So this is one of the suggestions I can subject to a discussion, as I said, on 4th of March, and ensure that that is done. Or if there are issues alongside that, then they be addressed. Kindly advise on why some courts charge for filing submissions, while others do not. This is a pain point because this particular court fee schedule, we have a new court fee schedule. Of course, it's no longer new because it's been with us now since 2020, I think 2021, 2020, where we consolidated the court fees so that when you make payments, when you are initiating a suit, the payment that you have made should be able to sustain that particular suit to the conclusion of the suit. So you make, you know, a deposit of, for instance, 10,000 shillings. That 10,000, if it had been assessed according to the amount that is in issue, should be able to carry that particular case until the end, so that we are not having 75 shillings here, 10 shillings there for annexures and all that. But then the only time you are then supposed to make another payment is maybe when you are making an application, an intervening application, maybe to amend, then that is the only time you're required to pay further court fees. But as usual, sometimes we are all not on the same page across the country. So we might not have done sufficient adequate sensitization to all the courts so that court fee schedule is administered uniformly. But we have made progress. There are only 1 or 2 courts which are still charging, on submissions, but submissions are supposed to be part. The court fee applicable to submissions are supposed to have been taken care of when you made the initial payment. So don't pay for submissions. The only time you're making payment for submissions is if you have been served with an advocate client bill of costs, for instance, or a bill of costs, and the only response that you are making to that particular bill is via filing of submissions, then you realize that that is the only document that you are initiating in respect to that particular process. So therefore, that is the only time you then make a payment for submissions, because it's the one you are, initiating your response towards that particular journey. So that is the only time submissions are supposed to be paid for, when you are responding to a bill of cost, for instance, or a miscellaneous application, and that is the only document that you are filing. So on that issue, I think we are more or less closed on it, so that fees once paid are supposed to sustain a suit or an appeal to its logical conclusion. Consider making the filed pleadings available for everybody to see or view. One might want to view the documents for purposes of advising a litigant without, say, the need to represent them in court. That's no need to be marked. I doubt whether we will do that, because, as I said, this system has been formulated or developed to mirror what happens in the manual process. In the manual process, you wouldn't have anyone come and peruse a court file, for instance. Because when you would come to the registry, you would be asked, are you representing this particular client? And if you're not representing that particular client, then you really need to explain why I should give you that particular court file for you to peruse. So that process that happens in the manual, in the physical domain, is what has been configured. It's how the system has been formulated to reflect it, so that we are not giving everybody, the opportunity to view and to look at what is in a particular court file. So I doubt whether we will make pleadings available for everybody to see, because that would be against the rules and the procedures that we have followed over time. Please respond to my query. There are matters linked to my farm belonging to another farm. How can I delink them? Martin, you had done this issue. Can you please address it? And then now we will move into close. I will give an opportunity to a member of LSK to close for us. I will tell who that member is. Martin?
Yes, Samuel. Delinking only has to be done from the registry right now. So you may need to identify which courts those matters belong to, so that you reach out to the registry and have those matters delinked. Or alternatively, you could list them all together and just send them to the DR automation, so that she can be she can interface with those other courts or registries to have those matters delinked from your farm. Otherwise, like I have said, from our perspective, we are thinking that delinking can be something that can be given to a farm. If we are able to consider this and make a conclusion, maybe in future we can think about giving those rights of delinking. And I have also seen a question on whether someone can delete a document which is erroneously filed, and I was just giving it a thought. If it is a document that you have filed yourself, I don't know if it would prejudice anyone if we give you the right to delete it and maybe refile again. So those are some of the areas that we are taking notes, and there are really some good feedbacks that we have received. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Martin. Thank you, Yvonne, for assisting me engage and lead the conversation this afternoon. Thank you, members of LSK Nairobi chapter, and I know they could be members from other chapters who've joined, especially because we want to be across the country on the e-filing platform. Thank you for the suggestions that you have made. This is a system that we are all building together. Your suggestions will go towards enriching the development of this system. Thank you for the questions that you have raised. Allow me now to bring in our commissioner, Madam Jacqueline Ngutia, to say a few words and also to close for us this particular afternoon session. Madam Ngutia, please.
Thank you, Honorable Tanui. Good afternoon, colleagues. Honorable Tanui, I see the chair of the branch is on the wall. I think protocol dictates that she'll be the one to close. So you'll allow me to just issue my few remarks, and thereafter, Chair Namisi can close the forum. First of all, allow me to thank the leadership of Nairobi branch and the judiciary for this very informative session. I remember at the beginning of this project, there were many concerns. And for sometimes there, we thought that we were going back to physical, but I'm happy that after having several engagement with LSK and other users of the e-filing, those complaints were addressed and the concerns are nowadays fewer. So the processes continue to improve because of certain things that the judiciary has done with the help of the JSC. I wish to report to members that there's been increased budgetary allocation for e-filing from 390 million last financial year to 500 million this financial year. And this has seen the judiciary increase equipment, internet bandwidth, staff, and we hope in the next financial year, there'll be more now that you have received information that the e-filing will go nationwide. We have also approved the data policy. I had one member ask if we have a data policy. Yes, the same was approved last year by the JSC. And another policy that is important for us is the caseload data policy guideline, because we want to use data to inform intervention, including recruitment of judges and magistrates. Issues such as the establishment of the National Transcription Center. I know members, the concerns of having few or no typist is a concern, but I'm sure once the issue of transcription is addressed, then we may not have the need to hire typists, and our appeals or records, therefore, would be easy to trace. We have seen the e-filing roll out to other stations such as Mombasa, Kisumu, and its environs. And I can just say this would not have been possible were it not for the continuous improvement of the e-filing systems and the CTS, that's the judiciary system from their end. So, Honorable Tanui, I would just request, before we do the 11th March nationwide launch, could we collate the challenges and concerns raised or general feedback that members in Nairobi, Mombasa, Kisumu, and its environs, because I know there are certain concerns that are valid, some have been raised here. If you could just collate those concerns and find a way of addressing them in your 4th March meeting. And I would also request that this is an initiative by the Nairobi branch. We have other branches. Myself, I'm a member of the West Kenya branch. I would request that you also have a similar engagement with members from other branches, and this can be done through the main LSK office and the branch caucus. I'm sure the chair of the Nairobi branch is a member of the branch caucus, so that we have members across the country informed about the e-filing. And in addition to just the general information about this e-filing system, communication should be sent out in advance to members across the country. So we are talking of about three weeks or so, 3 or 4 weeks before the 11th March launch. Let us reach out to as many advocates as we can. We want the advocate in Lamu, we want the advocate in Garissa, the advocate in Bita to have this information so that the uptake is as seamless as possible. So you could create short videos, you should create process infographics, but more importantly is before the actual launch is that members of the Law Society of Kenya across the country should be informed. Otherwise, thank you so much, and thank you members for attending. I will hand over the mic to the chair to close. Thank you.
Thank you, Commish. Apologies for that protocol. I didn't know Madam Helen Namisi is still with us. But I've gotten the concerns, and thank you for the advice that you've given us, collating the concerns that have been raised across the country as we did the rollouts and addressing them. That we will do. Similar engagements to all the other branches, and we intend to also have a kamkunji of all the advocates across the country, just to let them know that this is going to happen on 11th of March, and then we will have specialized and particular branches taken through the how-tos, how to file, how to create an account and all that. That we intend to do in the next 3 weeks. It's going to be an intense 3 weeks for us before the 11th of March. Thank you, Commish, because we are going to walk this journey together with you. Madam Namisi, please.
Thank you very much, Honorable Tanui. Thank you, Commissioner Ingutia. And thank you to the entire team behind Honorable Tanui. Once again, as Nairobi branch, we're very, very proud that our entire branch is on the e-filing system. I must say that it is quite refreshing that the problems we used to talk about in 2020, 2021 about mapping are now a thing of the past, really. The problems, challenges that we are facing now are more advanced, if I can call them that. Some of the suggestions that have been presented today are actually quite enlightening. I thought I was the only one who receives 5 or 10 texts regarding one matter. I'm happy to know I'm not the only one. I remember at some point I even asked Honorable Tanui, are we charged for these SMSs? Because that would explain why my airtime is always finished. But all in all, we are very happy. We are very delighted to have this system. I think it has really transformed our practice. We cannot say we are at the same place we were 3 years ago. And this comes even with the kind of transformation we're seeing in the world, with AI coming in, digital transformation. So we're just in line with that. Thank you very much to Honorable Tanui, who is always ready and willing to receive our calls when we are complaining about mapping and linking and whatever other challenges we're having with the filing system. And she's always ready and willing to help us. Her team, her very small team, actually very, very small team of less than 5 people, is always at hand to sort out our issues. And so we say asante sana. And of course, we wish you the best and that this may continue to improve. We will continue to give our feedback. Where the shoe pinches, we will let you know. Where you're doing well, we will let you know, but we're very, very proud of this system. And I must say, even having interacted with my colleagues across Africa, we really do stand out as Kenya. We really do stand out with this particular system. So we must be proud of it. Whatever challenges and hitches we are facing, we can overcome them. There's no system that is 100% perfect. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, I want to say thank you very much. I think at some point we hit 90 participants. Thank you so, so much for sparing your time this afternoon to listen to the DR automation and her team take us through the developments and the advancements in the system. And hopefully we can make it even better. And hopefully we have more and more delegations from other judiciaries coming to benchmark with Kenya. Let's be the hallmark of excellence. With that, I wish you all a pleasant evening. Asanteni.
Asante.